it's Kathy. So sorry to be gone for so long, but I'm back and I'm so happy to be back. And this video was requested by Iryna. I'm not sure if you pronounce a long or short I. I think it's Iryna. Anyway, she wanted to have a little explanation on how to deal with combination skin. And by the way, Iryna, your package is on its way to you. I shipped it today. Anyway, so real quick, right now with it winter time and we've got all of our heating systems on, it's real common that you end up with combination skin. And typically that would be oily through the T-zone and then real dry out here. You can have any different combination. It doesn't really matter. The idea is you're dealing with more than one skin type. So I just want to start off by saying in the wintertime, I really feel like less is more when it comes to treatments and all that. So I'm going to give you kind of a rundown of what I think you should try using, and I'll give you some options. Okay, first, many of you are familiar with the osmosis line that I recommend, but the Purify is, if you tend to get really shiny, the Purify is good because it's going to reduce a little bit of that oil. If you are predominantly dry, however, I would go with the cleanse. They're two different cleansers. But if you don't use the osmosis line, just think in terms of a gentle cleanser. You don't want anything that's going to be too strong. Please, no granules, especially in the wintertime. I'm not a fan of physical exfoliation. There are some exceptions to that, but for this video, I say get something that's very gentle. Then the most important thing is going to be your serum. Now this is my back bar one, so it's huge. This is the size that you would have. So Clarify, if you're somebody who has really oily skin, the Clarify has ingredients that help to balance out oil production. So that's kind of taking care of it from the inside before it's produced, okay? So that's something that I think is very beneficial, but it's only good for somebody who's really oily. If you're not super oily, stick with the Renew or the Correct. The Correct is just half as strong as the Renew, but it still has some of the ingredients like the retinaldehyde that help to balance out oil production. So this is kind of a preventive treatment. And remember, we're doing this for the sake of keeping our skin clear and slowing down the aging. I think that the retinaldehyde serum, I've said this before if you've watched any of my videos, this is the most important thing in your skincare. But when it comes to combination skin in the wintertime, this is actually going to help. It's not going to do it all, but it's going to help. It's part of the equation. Okay, now following that, you've got a few choices. If you tend to have a lot of oil, I would ask you, don't use moisturizer at all, okay? So this is for the person who's super oily. I want you still to use sunscreen, which, you know, Shelter is the one that I recommend because it's got the physical sunscreen. And here, this is my back bar bottle. I want you to see what it comes out like, because a lot of people worry that it's going to be too thick and white. Let's see if I can, oh, the light is, there we go. So it starts out white, and the amount I used just then is the amount for your whole face. I mean, it really does disappear. I think they do a great job with the way this is formulated. Now, if you have really oily skin, you can use this. The Shelter is very lightly moisturizing, and I wouldn't want you to use less than this because you have to use a sunscreen. If you are super oily, what you can do in your oily places is use something like, these are the Eve Pearl ones, but every brand out there has an oil mattifier, a shine mattifier, mattifying gel. They have different names. What I like about the Eve Pearl is it has two different colors. So if you have darker skin, a mattifying gel sometimes can look bad. So I'm going to show you the two different colors on my hand. And what you do with this is you just dab it in the places that get oily. So you see this is the darker, for darker skin tones, and you see it thins right out, and then this is the lighter. I've kind of smushed them together, sorry. Anyway, once you all you want to do is the places where you get oily, like right up here, you'd pat some on, like on your nose, maybe right around here, chin, wherever you get oily, pat that on after you've put on your sunscreen. Pat on very thin layer, let it dry, and then put on your makeup as usual. And so what it will do is absorb some of that oil as it's being produced. So that's another option for really oily skin, but don't skip the sunscreen moisturizer. Just don't use any other moisturizer. Now, if it's nighttime and you're an oily skin person or you have really oily T-zone, use a light moisturizer. I like the Quench. on the outer part of the face and nothing on the T-zone. I mean, we kind of have gotten into the habit of, you know, we've got all these steps that we do with our skin, and we think that we need all these different things, and actually you can treat different parts of your face differently. So put the moisture where you need it, and don't put it, you know, you don't have to have it everywhere. Your skin does not have to have moisturizer. I always like to go back to the babies. All of you who've had babies, did you ever moisturize their face? I hope you didn't. Babies really don't need moisturizer on their face because it does a really good job of regulating oil, and it's very healthy. It's got a healthy lipid barrier. So anyway, so we're going to moisturize where we need it and leave it off of where we don't need it. And in more extreme cases, we're going to use a mattifying gel where we get oily. And if your dry places require more than a light moisturizer, use a heavier one out here. Use a heavier cream if you want. Just don't apply it to the oily places. Now here's a couple other options that I like. This one's called Hydrate, and it's from 2L. And this is a line that I use it in the treatment room. I don't carry it on my shelves just because I love it for treatment, and I just don't have enough use for it to carry it. But this is called a moisture gel, and it's hyaluronic acid in a gel, which I find it to be really helpful. I use it when I'm doing facials. See, it's just a liquid gel. I put it on after I've exfoliated my client and steamed them and all that. I put this on before I do extractions because actually you can't extract pimples from a really dry, tight skin. So the hyaluronic acid just goes right into the skin, but it's gel form, so it's safe for people who tend to be oily. So this would be an option for you to use as moisturizer. There are some different hydrating gels on the market. I'm just kind of showing you a couple things. And then I do carry this one. This is the Face Reality one. This is the one I carry for my acne clients. It's called Hydrating Emulsion. It's another gel. Boy, this poor hand of mine by the time I'm done. So it's kind of a blue gel. So it's oil-free, and this is safe for people who are acne prone. You'll see it's very wet. Let's see if I can get it. It goes on very wet, and it kind of absorbs into the skin. So this is another one for somebody who tends to be really oily, but they feel like they've got to get a little bit of hydration into their skin, so you can do that. And so with that, you could put that all over the whole face, even the oily areas, and it's just going to add hydration without being too emollient or heavy for you. This is something I have to bring up. So many clients I have, when they fill out their paperwork, they mark that they have really oily skin. They hate their shine. So I ask them, do you think your skin is oily right now? And most of the time they're like, yes, look, it's an oil slick, blah, blah, blah. We tend to be, in my opinion, we tend to be so worried about shine and oil that we don't realize a little bit of that look is actually youthful. And since a lot of my viewers are older, don't be afraid of a little bit of oil on your face. That's actually going to make you look a little bit younger. There's nothing uglier than powdery skin, dry skin, flaky skin, because you see every little wrinkle in it. You can always, I forgot to show you this, salicylic toner. This is something I use for my acne clients, but it does help dry the skin up. So you could use this on a cotton pad down the center of your face where you're oily. It can help too. These are just different ideas. And you've got to find what works for you because everybody's skin's going to react differently. But just try not to layer too many things on. So, moisturize the dry places. Don't moisturize the oily places. Use a gel, a hydrating gel if you really need to and you're super oily but dry. Don't overstrip your face in the first place because that's what creates more oil. When we dry out our skin, it says dun dun dun, dun more oil, help, help, help. So don't overstrip it. No scrubs, no harsh cleansers. Look for sodium lauryl sulfate, SLSs in everything. Get rid of them because that's detergents that are just too strong. A lot of times just stopping those things, you will find that your skin isn't so dried out. So that's my idea on treating combination skin. I hope it wasn't too confusing. I know I was all over the place. I'm sorry. I hope you all are having a great day, and the holidays are here, and I'm so glad. I'm really in the mood for them this year. So I hope everything's going well with everyone, and I'll talk to you soon.